Good evening, YouTube. This is yours truly, Tesla here, bringing you a video that's different than the regular. It's not a Wi-Fi bell. It is a video on the Greninja suspect test. And with me, I have a special guest. He is a fellow streamer and I believe a PokeTuber. He is Voltomic. And we're going to discuss our thoughts on Greninja and whether or not we think it's Uber. Please say hi to YouTube, my friend.
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Voltomic.
So, this is a very controversial subject because there are people for the Greninja ban, and there are people against it. And where do we side on the fence? Well, we are both pro-ban for Greninja, and we will explain why. And we will also explain why the arguments that are made by the anti-ban side do not work. So, what do we got first for the argument?
Currently, for one of the pros of the banning of Greninja, we do have the fact that forcing to use bulky teams to counter can very much limit the team building. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree, and this would be over-centralization. In fact, you do see extreme measures being used to counter Greninja, like Porygon 2. Granted, I use Porygon 2 for different reasons, not really to counter Greninja. But if you're using something like Porygon 2 to specifically counter Greninja, there is something wrong with that Pokemon that you're trying to counter. And not to mention that Porygon 2 as a counter is passive. It doesn't really do anything to fight back to Greninja. It just walls it for a short period of time and it's like status. So yeah. Wouldn't you agree that Porygon 2 isn't really that great of a counter to Greninja?
I mean, I wouldn't even say technically that it is a counter. It could be just a check, just to get it out of there. Nobody is going to stay in on a Porygon 2 with a Greninja. What people fail to realize is that there are 5 other Pokemon on that team. They are obviously going to switch out if they are not. They're not going to take the chance to sacrifice their Greninja, or it could possibly be their win condition, which half the time Greninja is the win condition.
Indeed.
Go ahead.
And not to mention that Greninja, with the introduction of the move tools in Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, Greninja has outs to its counters. We did see it get walled by fairies in X and Y for the most part, and now has Gunk Shot, which completely kills off fairies. In fact, I believe a life-orbed Gunk Shot from Greninja would, at the very least, be a 2-hit KO on a Azumarill and Clefable, if not 1-hit KO. I haven't really run the calcs myself, but Gunk Shot is what, base 120 attack power?
Yeah, with 80 accuracy. So even the accuracy is decent. 80 accuracy, guys. Now, most Greninjas, they run 40 attack points in their EV spread just for the pure fact that they can OHKO and Azumarill with a Gunk Shot. Clefable, a 2-hit KO, no problem. And then it can also tank a Moonblast because of its poison typing now because of protein.
Yeah,
so
even if it misses the Gunk Shot, it transfers into a poison type, like you said, and it completely mops up that Moonblast or Dazzling Gleam or whatever move you're going to use.
Right, and Clefable could potentially use a Flamethrower. Okay, yes. Greninja takes some serious amount of damage, but Greninja is still alive. It's not going to OHKO Greninja with a Flamethrower. Of course, unless it's set up, but that's the risk you're willing to take when you send in a Greninja against a Clefable.
I don't think a Flamethrower would do half to a poison-type Greninja, because there's typically no special attack investment in Clefable, so...
Some Clefables actually do run a Life Orb, because Magic Guard prevents damage from the Life Orb.
Good old Magic Guard.
Yep. So, another thing about Greninja is also the fact that you nearly have to sack a Pokemon just to get a safe switch in. And then again, even that's not enough, because again, your opponent has 5 other Pokemon.
And they will wear down more Stealth Frost damage and what have you. And
right.
So what's the next point on the docket that we should discuss? What's the next point that we have for Greninja's banning?
Okay, outside of the new Megas that were just introduced in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, it is one of the fastest Pokemon in the OU tier besides Scarf users. I mean, base 122 speed, it's the only Pokemon that has a higher speed than that in OU is Talonflame. which, yes, Talonflame could check Greninja, but is not necessarily a counter, because if Talonflame cannot switch into a Greninja safely.
Definitely not. And there's only a handful of Pokemon, non-Mega Pokemon and non-Star Pokemon that can outspeed Greninja. Those would be Jolteon, Electrode, Noivern, Crobat, and Aerodactyl. And those 5 Pokemon are not viable in the OU tier. I think maybe at best, Noivern could be used in the OU tier, but the rest aren't viable in OU at all. So you won't be seeing them in the typical OU battle, which makes Greninja, aside from Talonflame, the fastest non-Mega Pokemon. And with Talonflame having Gale Wings, the speed of Talonflame is pretty much irrelevant anyways.
Correct, because Choice Banded, I don't even think it has to be Choice Banded. I think Brave Bird still kills it with 252 attack investment.
Oh, definitely.
He is frail. That is a point to that. But based on everything else, another point is so we already covered the stab on every move. The build Greninja around the team. You build your Greninja around the team.
Lots of people think that you build your team around Greninja because Greninja is a win condition. Greninja has stab for basically any move it uses, unless you're doing something wrong and running Torrent Greninja for some strange reason. But why would you have to? But in all seriousness, Greninja has protein, which makes it automatically get stab boost for any attack it uses. HP Grasp, Extra Sensory, Dark Pulse, Low Kick, Gunk Shot, HP Fire. It doesn't matter what attack you use. It will get the same type attack bonus use if you're running protein on it, which again, I emphasize, you should be.
And it's really unfair, to be honest, in the OU tier, because no other Pokemon has that advantage. No other Pokemon can be switched in to take whatever stab attack it is sending out. You could switch in your special defensive wall against an incoming Ice Beam. Congratulations, you predicted the Ice Beam. Then he switches right around and uses a Ice Punch, or he switches around and uses a Gunk Shot. There goes your special defensive wall because of a mix attacking Greninja. That not only was able to switch types,
but was able to check your special wall.
To check your special wall. So now it's switched types, and it can tank a hit that could otherwise kill it.
Greninja is such a diverse Pokemon. It can have many different stats. It can be physical, special, or mixed. And that's what makes it really deadly.
Right. You can't. There is no way to predict a set of a Greninja, which is another reason why it needs to be banned. You can't predict. It's really, really hard to predict. Yes, there's a common moveset on it, but the common moveset on it right now is like U-Turn, Ice Beam, Dark Pulse, Gunk Shot, I believe. And so even if you do predict, your opponent predicts that you predict, and he U-turns. Okay?
Go ahead.
So he U-turns. So, and then he gets out of there, and again, the 5 other Pokemon behind him come in and finish up. Any move it uses hits neutral or super effective, has a high potential of OHKOing or 2-hit KOing anything in the meta.
That is very true. That is very true.
Which just goes on to the further point of there's no switch-ins.
And not to mention that, if you want to, get a visual of what set you're using, you have to sacrifice a fair bit of health from any of your Pokemon to get a sense of what set they're running. And sometimes you'll even have to sacrifice one of your Pokemon just to get a Scarfer in to take care of Greninja. And if you're sending something slow, normally slow, like Road and Wash, they're going to know that Road and Wash is Scarf, and they're not going to keep Greninja in. Against Road and Wash. Yeah.
Any good player with their Greninja is going to scout for checks and weaknesses that their Greninja might have potentially to not leave in, which again brings in the fact that you could switch out to other walls. So unless you're running some kind of special mixed attacker other than Greninja, good luck, because somebody's going to switch into a special defensive wall to protect their Greninja. They're going to switch into a defensive wall to protect their Greninja. They're going to switch in walls that are common counters to these other Pokemon, where Greninja doesn't have a counter.
Greninja would only have a counter if you were psychic and know the exact set that your opponent is running. And let's be honest, there's no one psychic who plays Pokemon. This isn't the Pokemon anime. There is no Sabrina in Pokemon. You won't know until it's too late what set they're running. Just like with Lucario. Let's go back to Mega Lucario. Alright, it could be a physical attacker, a special attacker, or a mixed attacker. So 1v1, Mega Lucario versus Sableye. Okay, Will-O-Wisp. You assume he's a physical attacker, nasty plot, and then he just completely sweeps you.
Your whole team. Your whole team. One nasty plot or ward sword stance is all Mega Lucario needed to sweep your whole entire team. That is why he's in Ubers.
That and, well, adaptability also.
Oh, yeah. Same, making it double damage for stab attacks.
That just completely pushed the envelope.
Right. So, I mean, we covered the fact that it limits team building, Greninja, limits team building because you're having to run really bulky Pokemon to just potentially counter that one Greninja in your opponent's team, to which it may not even matter. You nearly have to sack every Pokemon, sorry, not sack every Pokemon, but sack a Pokemon just to get a safe switch in. He's faster than pretty much anything in the meta without being a Mega. And now he's even got sets where he runs a Scarf just to outspeed the new threats that are coming in, to which Greninja normally is going to switch out anyway if somebody brings in something that is potentially going to be a threat, so it doesn't even matter because he probably still did a crap ton of damage to your Pokemon before he left.
Exactly.
Right, and so then the fact that you're building Greninja around your team, it defies the 4-move syndrome.
Completely eliminates the 4-move syndrome theory. And
because
actually, dare I say that, let's assume Greninja does have the 4-move syndrome. It actually works in its favor. It makes it harder to predict. Does this Greninja have extra sensory? Will I switch my Mega Venusaur in to get predicted into an extra sensory? Will I switch my Ferrothorn into a Hidden Power Fire? Greninja is unpredictable. Its stats can be unpredictable. It is.
Right.
It's just. I mean, I wouldn't be so bad about the speed, but it's not the speed alone, but the speed combined with getting stabbed on all 4 moves is
where it shines. That's the fact.
Is the problem.
It's the speed. Look at Kecleon. The only reason he's not in a higher tier, he's got base 90 attack. The only reason that Kecleon is not in a higher tier, his base speed is 40.
Oh yeah, that's even lower than X-Cloud.
It's low, dude. He's not gonna outspeed crap. So, boom, there you go. That's the only other protein user in the meta, and yet he cannot even get past PU.
Let's not forget though. There's also Froakie and Frogadier. I mean, if Greninja gets Uber, we can see Evolite Frogadier.
Right, but Frogadier's speed still doesn't even come close to Greninja's, so there's no reason for it to be used. He's still going to get wrecked.
Exactly.
Eviolite or no Eviolite, because his defenses are still frail even with the Eviolite.
Definitely, and well, I don't think his special attack is very impressive either.
All right, so I like to talk about most of the people what the cons of banning Greninja is, like why he shouldn't be banned. And to be honest, after watching several YouTube videos, after listening to other people's complaints, the only thing that I can come up with that has came up multiple times on why Greninja should not be banned is because Tesla. It's that he's frail.
Yeah, too frail for Ubers.
He's too frail for Ubers, or he's too frail in general. Let's go to the Uber tiers for a second, guys. I want to explain something. The Uber tier, for one, is not a place where they go and say a Pokemon is too weak to go. The Uber tier is essentially a ban list. Okay, it's just a ban list between OU. What I'm trying to get at is that Greninja is too strong for OU. That is it. So he goes to Uber. Mega Ray Ray was too strong for Uber, so he went to free-for-all. Okay? That's the point I'm trying to get at. Uber is still a tier, right? Even though OU is still a tier, people are still running UU, BL, RU, and stuff in that tier. They're mixing the tier up. Uber might as well be a mixed tier of Pokemon that are too strong. It's like Uber is like a borderline. Because borderline pokes, they're too strong for UU, so they're in borderline. Pokemon that are too strong for OU are in Uber. Uber is like the borderline between Uber and free-for-all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like the borderline between free-for-all and OU.
Let's also bring up the fact that people are saying it's frail, right? Well,
right.
Greninja's too frail to beat Ubers. Alright, so why is Deoxys in Ubers? One of the Deoxys forms says base 20 defense. Let's, YouTube viewers, let that sink in. For those of you who are against the ban and saying that Greninja is too frail for Ubers. Base 20 defense on Deoxys.
Let's talk about Deoxys speed, though. Look at Deoxys speed. Why is that in Ubers? It has base 180 speed, but nothing else. The only thing it is normally good for is setup. So why did he get banned to Ubers?
He's way too fast.
He's way too fast. He's too strong. He has too much potential in OU.
His frailness is way too. He has a lot of frailness, but it's irrelevant.
All right. And go ahead.
I'll let you go ahead.
Okay, so let's get back to the Uber tier about saying that it's too fragile for Ubers. So again, Blaziken, too strong for OU, still frail. It'll still get wrecked in Ubers, but it's there. Darkrai, it's been in Ubers for how long since it was introduced in Diamond and Pearl? And it's frail. It's in Ubers with base 135 special attack and 125 speed. Which honestly, in my opinion, Darkrai is too powerful for OU, but I don't think it's Uber material. Genesect, fragile, was in OU, but now look where he's at. Mega Gengar, put in there just because of his ability, but very, very fragile.
So you see YouTube. It's not about. There's different factors you can determine if a Pokemon should be placed in Ubers. It being frail and not viable in Ubers has nothing to do with it. That's not Smogon's concern. Smogon is trying to make a healthy OU metagame. It's not concerned about putting viable Pokemon in Ubers. Ubers is just a ban list. It's like advanced format in Yu-Gi-Oh! It is a ban list. If you want to use Greninja so bad, go ahead, try it out in Ubers. I heard it had some decent success already, but other than that, its frailness is not an issue. It really has no bearing on the situation.
And I think a lot of the people that are complaining, to be honest, Tessa, about Greninja being banned, is they're playing either favorites or they're not competitive players.
That actually brings me to another point. Another anti-ban argument. Bad player, bad player, bad player. So, Volt and I watched a video, or listened to a video, where this guy, we're not going to name people, but he basically said that the reason why people want Greninja Ubers is they're bad and don't know how to predict and play around it. This goes back to what we said earlier about playing around it. You can't play around it until you know the exact set, in which case you end up stacking a Pokemon or two, or taking massive damage.
Which is unfair. It makes it so hard for you to enjoy the game, I think, in my opinion, because you're racking your brain trying to think, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What is this Greninja going to have? I don't know before it's too late. He hits you with a protein move. You switch in your wall to, per se, special attacker. Switches it right up and hits you with a physical. Your wall is gone. Chansey is no longer a counter because Greninja got low kick. Chansey, the only thing that thing can do to it is seismic toss and toxic. Low kick is going to kill you. Azumarill, Gunk Shot is going to kill you. You're not going to Aqua Jet. One Aqua Jet is not going to take out a Greninja.
Greninja until Greninja
Yeah.
got Gunshot.
And now by Azumarill. I mean, there's so many Pokemon. Every Pokemon can be potentially really damaged by Greninja before it takes it out. So that Pokemon that was a counter to another Pokemon on your opponent's team is now seriously injured because you're trying to get rid of that Greninja that is a counter to all your Pokemon. Because it's either a counter because you don't know the moveset, so you get scared and switch it, or it's a counter because it's going to OHKO your Pokemon in no one shot. It doesn't matter.
Precisely. Well said. So basically what we're trying to say is Greninja is uber material.
It's uber material to the point of it's too strong for OU. I wouldn't say it's uber material based on the pure fact that it can compete in OU. Yes, it has potential to actually, but it's not. It's not. That's not the fact. That's not the point of the reason why he needs to be in Ubers. He needs to be in Ubers because he's too strong for OU.
He causes too many problems in OU. Over centralization, and there's no real solid checks or counters to him.
Right. I mean, there's so many Pokemon in Ubers that actually can switch into Greninja without getting OHKO'd. Simple as that. I mean,
another argument that was brought up on the anti-ban side is, the way to counter a Greninja is to use a Greninja of your own, which goes back to the whole over-centralization thing. So we have to run a Greninja to counter our opponent's Greninja. There's something seriously wrong with that.
And I wouldn't even say Greninja's a counter. I would say it's a check. It's based on if you're going to win that speed tie or not. Then it comes down to luck, which is not something that just needs to be put in the game. That's not fun.
There's a reason why Swagger is banned. We don't need luck in the game. We want skilled players to have as good of a chance as they can to actually come out on top and not lose due to luck. We have enough hacks in the game as it is.
Yeah, I mean, Thunder Wave, it's all based on, are you going to get paralyzed the next turn? Crits, they happen. Dude, they happen. Misses, they happen. Speed ties, they happen too. But not to the point where it's going to cost you half your team. You either lose your Greninja or your opponent loses their Greninja, and then it comes down to the fact that, hey, there's still a Greninja still here that on either team, it doesn't matter, it's still potentially sweeping the other person's team.
Precisely.
So even so, it just shows the fact that even Greninja is too strong for Greninja.
And as we understand it, the voting thread is up on the Small Gun forums. I will not be voting because I did not do the laddering thing. I'm pretty sure Voltomic didn't bother doing the laddering thing either. But you'll know where we stand if we were to vote. We'd vote ban. I mean, you guys can post in the comments and your take on the situation. If you disagree, you can debate it with us. But we're pretty dead set. Greninja needs to be put in Ubers so we can have a healthier metagame.
Right. I mean, your comments, they're all good. I'm up for diversity. I'm up for hearing your point of view. But as it is, I think it does deserve to be banned. As a competitive player myself, Tesla himself is a competitive player. We play the game a lot. We compete a lot. Even though we may not ladder on Showdown, we stream Pokemon because we love it, and we stream Pokemon because it is fun, and it's awesome, and it counters the meta.
Nicely said, really.
And yeah, man. And before this becomes down to a love-hate relationship thing with the Greninja, I love Greninja. Let's get that right, dude. If it didn't get banned, I'd run it. Not just because of the pure fact that I thought it deserved to be banned because it's too OP and I don't want to be that douchebag. No, it's good, but it is too good for OU.
I'm actually glad you brought that up. No. See, all because we think something should be Ubered doesn't mean we don't like it. Take me for example. I love Mega Salamence. I want to use that thing, but I can't use it because it's Ubered, and I know it deserves to be Ubered. Granted, me not being able to use it is my fault because I took forever to finish Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. But I love Mega Salamence. I love the way it looks. I love its ability, and I love how deadly it is. However, I'm not ignorant to the fact that it's broken. It's just busted.
Right. Don't be ignorant to that fact, guys. You got to understand, just for the point that it can't be favoritism, that there's a reason why you're choosing your vote.
You have to vote with common sense. And you have to vote with your better judgment. There can be no biased voting. Because if there's voting based on bias, then that defeats the purpose of, well, trying to get a healthy metagame. Because we're just gonna be sticking our own daily threats that we love to use, and where will that get us?
Precisely why Smogon has it to where you need to raise in your ranking and showdown to vote. If you want it that bad, do it. Show that you have the skill to counter Greninjas. Show if it's that much of a problem. Prove us wrong. You know what I'm saying? But Greninja is a threat. You cannot deny it. If you're versing a Greninja, you're having to play your heart out just to get around it. And you are taking damage.
You guys want to vote for a new president? You register to vote. You want to vote to keep something from being Ubered, or you want something Ubered? You register to vote by getting your coil rating up. I really don't know what coil means, but that's the requirement, and that's what you have to do. So I'll be linking in the description the actual Smogon thread with all 30 pages that shows that have people arguing over why should and should not be Ubered, but really, basically, we pretty much stated everything that you can find on the Smogon thread, and
pretty much debates around the internet.
Yeah. There's really not much else to really say. It should be Ubered, in our opinion.
It should be Ubered. You got that right. I'm just saying, just for the beer back, that there are a lot more pros to it being banned than there are cons. There's only one con, and that is frail.
And that has already been debunked.
And that's been debunked by the fact that there are so many frail Pokemon in Ubers already.
If we're going to take something off Ubers because it's frail, then let's let Deoxys off the Uber list. Yep, that's a great idea.
Right. But I think we summed it up here, Tesla.
You have anything else you want to say in regards to the subject? Any last words?
No, I think we pretty much summed up everything. I just hope you guys enjoy the video. I hope that you hit that like button and hit that subscribe button so that my man Tesla here can get a little credit for this and get some word out there for some other videos.
And on a side note, I will be doing a post suspect test discussion, and I'm sure Voltomic would love to be a part of that, and I'll have him a part of that if he wants.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me.
Once the votes are in, once the decision is made, whether we agree with it or not, we're going to deal with it. We're going to analyze and discuss it. And we'll also be having a video up within the next few weeks announcing the date of the Little Cup tournament that my friend Voltomic will be hosting. We will be co-hosting it on his stream, so if you're interested in the Little Cup tournament, then you can talk to him on his stream about it.
We'll link the streams in the down below in the YouTube video, and you guys should check us out sometime. We love to see you there. We love to talk to you there, and potentially you can battle us and see exactly how good we are if you question if we have skill or not. So I'd like to see you guys. Come and see us.
Yeah. So with that being said, this is Tesla and
this is Voltomic,
and we are signing off. Have a great day,
everyone.
Peace,
guys.